Welcome to Overland Park, Kansas. I'm Steve Gates. As states like Kansas look to diversify the way they produce electricity, there's still only a handful of ways to produce the much-needed baseload power. Let's go learn more. So we made it to Hays, Kansas, home of Sunflower Electric, which is just over my shoulder. We're excited to be here and talk to CEO Earl Watkins and find out not only what Sunflower does as a business, but find out more about their plans for the Holcomb Expansion Project.
Well, the Holcomb Expansion Project, to begin with, is a second and potentially a third unit at the existing Holcomb Unit Number 1 site. And since 1983 or so, there's been no new generation added essentially to the state. And so now we're in a situation where additional baseload energy is required.
Can you explain a little bit why baseload is so necessary?
Sure. Throughout the electric utility industry, of course, there are some load customer needs that are on 24 hours a day. Think in terms of a hospital. A hospital never shuts down. It's got its lights on, it's got its equipment on 24 hours a day. So during that period of time, you have to have generation resources there to support that need.
As far as the Holcomb Expansion Project goes, the question people generally ask is, what's the benefit for me? So the people in Kansas, what's the benefit to them? Why go through this?
The benefit to the people in Kansas is, of course, multifaceted, really. Not only is it jobs and economic development, but it's also a stable, lowest cost, reliable resource for them.
Sunflower doesn't just use coal to produce electricity, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Sunflower's current resource mix is 48% natural gas, 42% solid fuel in the form of coal, and 10% renewable resources. Much like an investment portfolio, you very much try to ensure that you've got a balance of resources. You want the right combination of peaking assets and intermediate assets and base assets, plus you look at different fuel types. You want to make sure those assets diversify risks so that if you have these cost threats to the system, you have a nice resource balance so that you can constantly meet the needs of your consumer at the lowest cost.
If you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, you know that Kansas can be a very windy place. And on days like today, harnessing the wind to create electricity is a great idea. But here's the catch. Under optimal conditions, this wind farm works about 40% of the time, which means 60% of the time it's not producing electricity, which is why baseload power and baseload electricity is so essential to not only Kansas, but the economy here in the United States and around the world. Next stop, Emporia, Kansas. Just inside those doors, some of the top labor leaders have just got done with a briefing with the governor of Kansas. We want to go find out what the governor had to say and learn more about the Holcomb project.
For the building trades, this is like a once-in-a-career type project. I mean, a project that's going to last, probably over 4 years and employ as many people as it's going to employ. It's going to affect every corner of the state. And we've had a lot of members, building trade members, that have been out of work for quite a while, and a project like this is going to be very much welcomed.
Senator, thank you for coming out here today. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement, at least in the Holcomb Expansion Project?
I've been on the Utilities Committee in the Senate, and I really believe in what they're doing because Kansas needs what we call baseload power, and that's what that plant would provide. When you have an adequate source of power, you can grow your economy. You can recruit businesses to come to Kansas. You can recruit new industries to come that might utilize a lot of power.
We're here at the Furniture Look, and we're going to talk to owner Karen Dreiling and find out how energy prices affect a small business owner in communities like here in Hays.
As a small business owner, resources are somewhat limited, especially in western Kansas. Overhead plays a very, very important part of running a business, and utility bills are a significant part of that overhead. Reality is the bottom line does play with everybody's pocketbook, and so we have to make sure that we keep a very modest energy price.
We're getting ready to leave Hays, and we've been all over Kansas the last few days, and one thing has become extremely clear. To get to the clean energy future that everyone agrees they want, we still need base load power. That's why projects like the Holcomb expansion are so important to keep towns like Hays thriving.
Baseload power, reliable at the lowest possible cost. That's the driver for us.